Hello, Nobodies, and welcome to another episode of the Two Nobodies Gaming Podcast. My name is Zach, aka RPGZieg, and with me as always is...
Tyler, aka Albatross Hill. Thanks for joining us. If this is your first time, we are just two nobodies talking about their favorite slices of the gaming world at large.
And if this isn't your first time, we appreciate you coming back to the table. Enough of that, though. Let's get into this. All right, so welcome back to Two Nobodies, a gaming podcast. And actually today, we're not going to have Tyler. We're actually doing a different segment today. So this is Two Nobodies and a Somebody. And that somebody today is one of my good buddies, Stack. Stack, if you want to introduce yourself for everybody listening.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Stack, Steven Stack, whatever you want to call me, or LumberJackStacks as the internet knows me on Twitch. That's all pretty much what I can go by.
And then where can the people follow you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram under LumberJackStacks. If you can, just go over and say what's up. I'll say what's up back. Give you a hug.
Yeah, Stack here has like one of the best like Twitch shows that you can imagine, which still blows my mind. It's not a hit at you, but it's like I expect so many more people to tune in just because of how casual and easygoing you are. And your mainstream game is the whole reason we're having this podcast episode today, because on Two Nobodies and a Somebody, this episode is just solely focused on one thing. So whenever you tune into Two Nobodies, a gaming podcast, and you see that there's a Somebody special, that we're usually going to talk to that one person and focus on something. And that focus is Destiny 2, because we actually have a new DLC coming out that got delayed. It's been hyped up for a very long time.
It's scary. It's scary how long we've waited now.
And they've extended the current season of the game just to make this line up with that release, which is on November 10th for Destiny 2 Beyond Light, that next expansion. And so me and Stack are just going to kind of break it down, talk about what we would like to see change, what Bungie has said they're going to change. Those changes, some of them we're happy about, other changes not so much. And we'll kind of just break that down. And then in terms of like repetitive pattern or how often you might see this episode involving Destiny 2, I think me and Stack collectively have more hours into Destiny than we would like to admit. Like open to anybody. Like this is definitely our bread and butter.
I will admit that on Steam, when you open up Steam and right before you hit play, mine says I think 1100 now since the Steam merge.
I think you can go to like if you Google like total time played Destiny, I think there's like time wasted Destiny or something like that. Yep. You type in your tag and it actually totals up your hours. And
I'm scared.
I went there. I went there recently because I was having a conversation with a couple people about it, and I went and I was like, oh, okay, cool. This should show me. It lost track of my because this is before cross save happened. So where we had to pick the one account we wanted to continue. So I've probably got like another 700 hours floating on an account that tracker can't find. And that's just scary to me.
That's only Destiny 2. That doesn't even count Destiny 1.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It couldn't find my Destiny 1 stuff. Like it does for some people, but like it couldn't find mine. And
can you imagine?
Well, I was making a joke. I was like, you know why it can't find mine? Because it doesn't count that high in hours. So maybe
you know what? It's probably true. It's probably true.
Yeah. So I don't know though. It's really scary to think about total time played when it comes to a game that's been out for so long. Because I mean, what Destiny OG original came out like when PS4 and Xbox One were like just a thing. They were just started. And we're about to hit the next console life cycle here too, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and whatnot. And
we're still going.
And we're on that second one, on that grind. You know, Stack, to be honest, like, is there another game that has such a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistency of delivering. They at least deliver content. Sure, it might not be like the best quality that we expect every time, but they give us content at like 3 to 4 months. You know, it used to be like every 4 to 5.5 months.
4 to 5.
But on the old structure. And like every year now we're getting like a big chunk DLC to start us off, like Forsaken that we got previously on Destiny 2, Beyond Light coming out here in a few weeks. And now it's like, I really can't think of another game that scratches this itch like constantly. Like,
no, and that's actually an issue for me sometimes. Like when I get bored of Destiny, like when I don't feel like playing it, I'm like, man, there's not a game that feels like Destiny that I really
Yeah.
want to play, you know?
And that is rough.
And it's a gift and a curse. Like Destiny when it's working, it's flawless. It's working. When it's not in the greatest shape, you can feel it.
Yeah, and I've thought about picking up other games too that are like similar in tow with it, like for sure.
Yeah.
Because like Borderlands 3 came out, and I liked Borderlands 2, but it's like I played Borderlands 2 for a while, but it's like it wasn't the end game for me. Like wasn't a consistent grind, and even when the DLCs got released, I like went in,
Yeah.
played what I wanted, and then I got out. And then Borderlands 3 came out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try it. And I see people playing it, you know, on Twitch and like, you know, wherever you can stream it, or even on YouTube when people do, you know, content for it. It just doesn't seem the same. Like it's hard to explain, like, because I've been playing Destiny 2 or Destiny in general just for so long. It's like I'm so comfortable with it. And when I go to something else that's like trying to do the same thing, or
you notice it. You
notice
notice
it.
Not that.
Yeah. And I think the biggest time that I got so close, but it was just such a letdown. And it was like having to lie to myself that like, okay, this bad relationship is going somewhere. I can make this bad relationship work. Was, you already know what I'm going to say. It's Anthem. BioWare's Anthem.
So when I saw it, I was like, oh, this looks cool. But again, when both Destinies came out, they promised a lot and they didn't succeed. And I was like, you know, I don't want to fall for it with a whole other title.
Yeah, and I fell because me and Stack, for people listening, like we connect on a lot of like cool topics that we share between. So like mechs, Gundams, robots, big kaiju films, stuff like that. Me and Stack have a similar interest there, and that's one of the things we click on. So like when Anthem came out, it's third person perspective shooting with powerful, essentially like Iron Man suits. Like they're all different Iron Man suits and they all do something different. So you had your breakdown of classes for Iron Man suits, and then you had your cool abilities and all the pretty colors, and then the loot and the shooting and mixing it up. And then it just didn't tie it together well. And then once you got done with that story stack, it was like the biggest drop off in the world. Like, and then when they were going to do their version of a Destiny raid, which I can't even remember what it was called. I think it was called like a Cataclysm or something like that.
Yes.
And it was an absolute shit show. Like the initial hype trailer was crazy. And this is where you know it went bad. So the original roadmap for content like went up as soon as the game went live. So like you knew what to expect and when those beats were going to come out. And then all of a sudden that roadmap got delayed. And then the roadmap, they just deleted it. They're like, roadmap no longer exists. Give us some time to look at some stuff. Because they realized they had such a big shit show on their plate. Because after you beat that story and like you just get through your normal progression, and the story's like there to teach you the concepts of world building and what to do, it fell off so hard. Like loot became unappealing, gunplay became super unappealing. Everything was the biggest bullet sponge in the world, and you didn't feel good about like hitting any of it. Oof.
I mean, what is there to say? I mean, Anthem became a joke.
It did.
To a lot of the Destiny community itself.
Anthem to the looter community in terms of like games is literally the Google Stadia of streaming services. Like just to correlate the two. If you know anything about Google Stadia, it's you know, and then if you know anything about Anthem, it's like we don't talk about it. It doesn't exist. Yeah, you're like, oh, I love Borderlands, Destiny, and all these other looter games, and then like nobody talks about like the elephant in the room.
Gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was the three big ones were Destiny for sure. The Division was actually really popular for a while. It had its time in the light.
I even played that for a little bit too, but
I gave that a try too.
And it just dropped off. Like, you know what I mean?
Again, I know a lot of people that are in the Destiny 2 community will be like, we have no end game. Well, you need to try games like Division and Anthem. Like you said, there is really no end game. Once you do the last like big mission, you're kind of just out of things to do.
Yeah, it's like a grind to make yourself more powerful, but Destiny does give you some places to play with that power, even though some of it's old now. Like, you know, like we haven't gotten a new raid in a while. The raids haven't been updated. And then like Grandmaster Nightfalls, I really wouldn't even consider to be like true ways of testing yourself. I think if anything, it just tests your patience and how to execute on a plan of attack.
As of the past couple days, past like 2 or 3 days, I've tried them.
Right.
And like you're saying, it's just you're taking a normal activity and just adding really difficult sponges that are in the way.
Yeah.
Because you don't even have to do anything else in those with Nightfalls. You just kill those champions and move on.
And then
But the fact that you're really low hurts.
Yeah, and then just to reiterate to people listening, when we say sponges, what we mean by that, it's like a monster or creature that like you have to, attack to get down, but they just have a ridiculous amount of HP. Like you're literally
basically
just
the boss.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're just
just fighting the
throwing
boss a
bullets
bunch
at
of
it. You're just praying and throwing bullets, all the damage you can, and it's like chipping away at their HP little by little. So when we say
Yes,
sponge,
exactly.
that's a term we mean. They're literally a bullet sponge. They just soak everything up, and like the result is still the same. One game that got really close for me though, Stack, that I did grind for a bit, but I fell out when a group of buddies I was playing with fell out too, was Monster Hunter. And that's just so different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
that's would you call that a looter shoot? I mean,
not a a looting game for sure, but it's like
Yeah.
it's more like hack and slash looter shooter, and then like
yeah,
it's really just like a hunting game essentially, and like
Yeah.
taking your abilities and equipment. But I think I've
it looked cool.
yeah, I've been playing Monster Hunter for like a long time, but this one, Monster Hunter World, was like the first time it came back from like the DS and Nintendo, systems, and then it went back to its roots of getting on like a higher up end console and PC release for hardware. And then like we finally saw like what Monster Hunter has become and like where they learned and how they improved their current system from handheld, and then gave you something truly unique and great that like sold really well on higher end consoles and equipment. And man, that hit a different itch though. Like I didn't ever feel like it was impeding on my Destiny stuff because it was so different. I felt like for whatever reason, I felt like Anthem definitely impeded on like Destiny 2 territory, quote unquote, and it just like failed. And if I have this standard of this is what Destiny provides to me on a gamer, constantly coming back player, investing hours of play into this game, and Anthem's not hitting those marks, or Borderlands isn't hitting those marks, or any of that other stuff, I just go back to Destiny. Because like, why would I go back to something that just isn't giving me the same feeling? And I know companies want a piece of this pie that Bungie's like developed, and it's like it's hard territory to step on.
You got to be able to play what Bungie's playing. You got to be able to hit the level that they hit. Because even a lot of FPS games, just shooters in general, like I used to play a lot of Overwatch of all games, and I've always liked how Destiny feels first-person shooter-wise compared to games that are first-person shooters.
Right?
Like that tickles that itch for me. Like I can hit my shots. Maybe it's not the most accurate, but
yeah, maybe it's not. But they do have a unique feel, I think, compared to a lot of the other first-person games. And then obviously you don't even compare it to games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, because it's like those are really just dialed in first-person shooters, have their way about how they've always played, and it really doesn't change until like the new title comes out. And then you either like or don't like that title for the next year until the new one comes out. And then you get the next one, and the next one, the next one.
You just keep going.
Yeah, and I think that's why
Talk about a bad relationship.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I don't need another COD. She left me. Oh, what's Call of Duty Ghost? I'll give it a try. Exoskeletons on my Marines. I don't understand this.
I tried that one. Actually,
Advanced
no,
Warfare.
I did try that COD. Yep, I did try that because I was like, oh, this is going to be like Destiny.
Yeah. And they
didn't play out well.
No.
Didn't play out well at all.
No. And then whenever games tend to do like this open world sandbox experience, like Anthem, Borderlands, Borderlands is more closed off, I think, compared to Destiny, but it's that too. Like you can't just be putting stuff in random places. Like when I play Destiny, I feel like even though it's different in some areas that I go to, it feels coherent. Like it all feels cohesive too. Like I think that's the word I meant, cohesive. Like it all feels cohesive and together, which is awesome.
It does. It definitely does. Like you can traverse a map and you kind of like, you kind of know what's coming up. Like you can make sense of what you're doing, where you're going.
Yeah. And
other games are like, you're in the desert, go through this one little area, now you're in a rainforest.
I know, and I think we've talked about this before off podcast and like off discussion, but like it is when you're just starting to play Destiny, whether it's Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, it is just so much to take in because you're dropped into such a big bucket of content and you're thrown so many things at once. And you're like, where the do I go from here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like my whole quest tab is filled and I literally just made this character 10 minutes ago. Like I haven't the effing slightest. do I need this gun to go here? Do I do this? And you don't know what background that gamer has or what games they've played previously to understand the language of Destiny or not understand.
Right? It does sound, hopefully, I mean, fingers crossed, that they kind of have a way of making it a little more streamlined
Yeah, let's
with this new character
you
and stuff.
wanna lead with that a little bit? I think that's a good thing to get into because that is a big change coming to
That
Beyond
is.
Light.
So for anybody that hasn't played Destiny 2, there's going to be a new way to start the game in Beyond Light. You're going to meet a guardian in the EDZ, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You're going to meet, it's Shah Han, which not a giant fan of the name.
Yeah, it's a Cosmodrome too. So we go back
Yes.
to an original place in Destiny that got lost in Destiny 2, and they're kind of sprucing it up and making that area like the new
Like the tutorial.
yeah,
area,
the new
kinda.
tutorial area. And then keep going about that dude that you
Yeah.
meet.
Yeah, so you'll meet Shahan. So he'll, like I said, he's going to be kind of like a tutorial mission. While for the last year of Destiny, when you'd start, you had no direction on where you'd start your main quests and stuff. You had to go kind of find her. Her name was Amanda Holiday. She's still there, but now you'll be able to meet the person that's going to take you and help you get through all that turning in bounties, starting quests, is what it sounds like. They haven't gone too deep into it yet, but I think it should help new players for sure.
I think so too. Because the cool part about this Shahan dude that we're getting is he's AI controlled. So yeah, so like he's actually supposedly AI controlled and on your fire team.
That's kind of sick. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and when I say fire team, it's just like a group that you usually pre-make before going on a mission, just so people understand like what's going on. So this guy's going to be AI controlled, walks you through. And I don't know, the extent of his AI control. I don't know if this guy like hugs a wall and then says, "Hey, go down this hallway and kill those 2 dregs. They're nasty." You go down there, kill 2 dregs, and then he, could warp to the next spot. And he's like, "All right, this next thing, you're going to interact with it." We don't know the extent of like what the AI controlled part is. We don't know if he's going to run out and shoot stuff with you. He could just light up checkpoints. We don't know.
I wonder if he'll be kind of like the spider's bodyguards. Remember when you first go to see the spider, you have his AI friends that are there helping you, which would be kind of cool. That way you feel like he's there.
Part of something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
which would be good. I would like that.
We've talked about that too a couple times, that we kind of wish that things were more interactive with us. Like Zavala, Ikora coming out of the tower every once in a while, like going and doing missions with them or doing something where they interact and actually do something next to us. I think
that was actually a big disappointment for us when Saint didn't really walk around too much. We had him a little bit, but
yeah,
I think we were really hoping that Saint was going to run around with us.
So this is Season of the Savior. I think it's like season 10 or 11 or something like that.
Yeah,
it was a while back, but the whole point was you're saving a hero that has fallen before in Destiny lore. Like this guy's well back and dead, but you're given a chance to go back, right some of those weird time rifts.
Paradox?
Yeah, paradox.
Whatever.
Yeah, we'll call it a paradox. Like weird paradoxes where you actually get involved in those, and then you rewrite a different outcome, and you eventually save the hero. He ends up becoming an NPC for you, and he runs like a weekend event for PvP content. And everybody loved Saint 14. First of all, like his character was really good. He has always been such a big dynamic piece of the Destiny lore. Saint 14, there's just so many stories that are around him and how like brutal of a fighter he was. Because he would fight the Vex until like his last dying breath, essentially.
Exactly.
And they teased him throughout Destiny 2 just constantly. And we're like, we got to meet the guy. Like we're gonna meet this dude eventually. We're gonna do all these cool things. And the first mission we found out about was like you're trying to save him, and he's putting up a giant wall, his bubble, to like stay in. And I was like, Stack, how much is this mission gonna suck if all he does is put up bubbles? I was like, I really hope that's not what happens. Mission comes out, that's exactly what happens.
First thing he did.
Puts up a bubble, doesn't fucking move.
And the whole time he's like struggling, like he's barely holding his bubble up. I was like, oh.
Yeah, he keeps it up the whole fight, which is, more than I can say for most. But at the same time, it's just it was a letdown because I thought we were gonna fight with him. And instead he's just like
he's gonna be shooting with us.
And gets into a bubble. And then when we meet him again, they put
he's in trouble.
Well, they put him in a bubble. The Vex put him in a bubble. I'm like, this guy's always fucking stationary. Like, what is going on? Doesn't pull away from his character, but it made those experiences of interaction like that much less of an experience.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the letdown for sure of the season was good, but man,
The curse of being a lore fan in Destiny.
is always revving up your own expectations for how something should
Exactly.
go or how it should unfold, and you get to it and you're like, what did I just play? Or the really cool pieces of the story. And this is, I mean, me and Stack will bash on the game all day, but we'll still play it. But like the big thing about Destiny is like they have such cool story beats.
Yes.
And cool concepts and all these great characters, and they write the lore down. Like
That's it.
You don't usually experience it, right?
You have to be a reader,
Yeah.
kind of. To get really into the lore, you gotta want to read this game.
Yeah. But it's good. Like, do you remember when a while back they did comic book episodes for the DLC, and they did like these preview comic strips?
Yes.
Those were amazing.
So good.
And we only got like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
I wish it was like a monthly thing.
I do too. I really like when they get close to expansions, they do like the Twitter post with more lore to go and watch on their or read on their website. Those are good if people are interested in those. I recommend checking that out. Great stories, and they're short.
Yeah, so hopefully with Beyond Light we get more story beats. I'd be cool with a new comic book strip if they wanted to do that. I would love that. I'd lose my mind. So yeah, Beyond Light bringing in just to reel it, because like I said, like me and Stack could literally sit here and just squeeze and ooze the Destiny 2 fanboy out of us. We excrete that shit. It's disgusting. It comes out of a nasty shade of purple. I'm not a big fan. So new player experience for Destiny 2 should be a lot better, especially with that guy kind of leading the way. And I guess you don't even I guess it's extended compared to like what new players currently get, which is make a character, kill a couple things, get 2 guns, go to tower, which is you know your community hub spot for picking up stuff. Now it's like go through most of the Cosmodrome is what they're saying, and then get kicked to tower. So like that new player experience will be longer to start. And I think which is good. And then if you're already used to it, I think you have the option of like returning to orbit once you get the ship. Yeah, I think there's an out. Yeah, you don't have to continue.
Which is great. That's really good on them.
And don't think you have to start a new character just to experience that. They actually openly said you can experience the new player experience with your existing character and just go right into it and enjoy the Cosmodrome for a little bit. So I was like, that's pretty dope. Appreciate them thinking that far about it. So that's good. And then what else? So new player experience, hopefully getting a fix. That'll be awesome.
There's a lot about Destiny. That's the thing. Like, so I mean, there's the most recent news with all the hot fixes and stuff or the updates and stuff like that. Beyond Light coming out on what, the 10th, not the 9th?
Yeah.
It's gonna be the 10th.
Yeah, so Xbox out on the 9th. Destiny 2 Beyond Light out the next day. 2 days from that, PlayStation 5 comes out. And then our next gen console patch comes out in December.
Oh, dude, oh man, okay. So like, why, guys? Come on. Let the new gamers have their fun immediately.
But that patch does have a lot, and just so people know, Beyond Light comes out, and it'll run on these new gen consoles the same way it does on an Xbox One and PlayStation 4 currently, and that experience won't change for people that buy new hardware until like I think it's like December 8th. I think it's like December 8th or 6th, something like that. But a patch comes out that gives us 60 frames a second, field of view sliders, which will be the first on a Destiny game to give you access to field of view for a home-based console.
Does any console game have that though?
I think, don't quote me, but I think Borderlands, Call of Duty, like typical Battlefield, I'm pretty sure had it. It had field of view sliders. But it's like, it was always, you know what I mean? Like it was always 1080p. So it's like, I can't really say. Like,
you don't see much difference.
Yeah, it's like it's a perfect square essentially, or not a square, excuse me, but it's not. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not the. I don't know. In my experience, I wouldn't change it because I feel like I lose detail from something so far away that like I would just be hurting myself to see more on my peripheral vision. Like it just wouldn't make sense. But I know some people change it. Some people have in the past. That's just how they like to play it. Cool, good for you. I'm not one of those. I can't sympathize with you. So. I don't know. I think they mainly did it for consistency because the raid comes out in Beyond Light, I think on the 25th. So 25th. Like almost about 2 weeks after release. And then, yeah, like, could you imagine like people just being able to get to stuff and grind faster on the PlayStation 5
that
and the
makes
Xbox
sense.
Series X or whatever? I think that's what it came
That-
down to. And they were like, let's let World First race happen and nobody complains about they only won because they bought new hardware. And then let's just give it to them 2 weeks after the fact.
Yeah, we have that. Oh man, that's gonna be dope even for me, someone that likes playing on PC, enjoys playing on PC, being able to go and be like, I want to sit on my couch and kind of play some Destiny for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
With good frame rate, good FOV, good load times.
Yeah. Yeah, because the load times right now are trash.
You play on PS4. You still dabble with it.
Oh yeah, I guess we never talked about that, huh? So me and Stack started talking over his stream, and then obviously I found out his main game was Destiny 2, and then we started hanging out on Destiny 2, but that was on PC.
Yes.
And grinded the hell out of all the content a couple times together, and then you became busy, I became more busy, and then I started going back to PlayStation to play Destiny 2, mainly for the cheating. The rampant cheating on PC was mind-numbing. Like, I was getting upset. Like, I'll brag a little bit. I think I'm above a little bit the average Destiny 2 player for sure. Even in PvP content, I feel like I'm up there. You too. And it's a different experience when you're going in to a match and you're just playing your heart out, and somebody's just always in the right spot or always knows where you are, always gets that headshot even though you shot first and all this other stuff. And it becomes belittling to like your own self-esteem after a while.
Yeah, for sure. Because
then you're just questioning, was that guy good or cheating? And that's why I stopped.
That's the thing.
Yep.
You can't tell anymore. Like, people can toggle at the last second so that they can get a good shot, and you're like, well, did I get cheated on that one, or was he just that good?
And so because I know you haven't switched to anything else, you're still on PC and you still play PvP, but like me, after a while, like I just felt like trash after playing Destiny 2, and I was like, I like Destiny 2. I shouldn't have to feel this bad to compete this well. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So I went to PlayStation. Oh my goodness, those poor bastards, man, were not ready. Because the sandbox is not the same on the consoles compared to PC, and movement's completely different because you're able to what's the word I'm looking for? You're able to put in inputs, I think, a little bit faster on PC, especially like turn around on a swivel, like on a dime with your mouse. A lot of the things that you think about and how you would move and how you would read the map or where you expect people to be, completely different on console. If you jump in the air on console and you're playing an aerial game to console players, they are lost. They're looking left and right. They don't understand where you're at. They see you on radar, but they have no idea you're just floating above their head. Like, nobody looks up on console. So like, if you can play an aerial game on console, you just tend to dominate more. It's just like it's consistently there like all the time. So yeah, my KD on console is absolutely disgusting. It's messed up. I still don't have Unbroken, but
hey, doesn't matter. You don't need the title.
I want the title though.
I do too, man. I'm so close.
You just got to do it this season. You're done, right? You just got to max glory.
I got 2 weeks to get 5,500.
Yeah, I got 2 weeks too to get there, and I'm only like 45. But I would have to do it next season too. I have to do it next season though. So like,
it's doable.
I know it's doable, man, but like, I'm so stressed.
Dude, trust me. Every time I go into a game, I'm like, come on, man.
It's
the cool thing though. That's something we can talk about. Like RPG said, playing on PC is kind of a flip of a coin if you're going to get a cheater in a game.
Yeah.
So Bungie, being the heroes that they are, went out and just put up a lawsuit against one of the biggest cheating sites for Destiny, taking Perfect Aim out of the equation.
Yeah, Perfect Aim. That's the name. There we go. I was trying to think. I was like, Aimbot? I was like, no, that's what we call them. I was like, what's the damn program? Perfect Aim.
Yeah, so that is completely off the market currently. They're not, and they're people that own that and run that have said they don't think they're coming back because fear of money.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to realize that lawsuit probably went out to them a while ago, and that company probably waited till the last day to make action. They were like, how
they're
many
gonna
days?
make their money.
Yeah, it's like you got to make your money until then, right? That's what I would think too. What's the day we have to take action to remove? This day. All right, then like we just business as usual until that day. Yeah, because they surprised all their subscribers with hey, just so you guys know, this isn't available anymore. Your service is done as of this day. And the bot, like, we're done. Like, we're not updating it anymore. It's done. We got hit with a lawsuit, and they even said it in their notification. Like, we got hit with some legal shit, and we're done.
Which is an odd way to go about shutting your shit down.
Yeah, normally you would just take the page off or just say the service is no longer available. But this place said, like, thanks for coming to this web page, but the service is no longer available. And Bungie has legally put some documents on our desk that we need to review. So.
And I've actually seen comments from that cheating sites, like
it's forums,
forums. I'm sorry. That other sites are actually like talking about like shutting theirs down too. So hopefully they're just handing out these lawsuits to people.
Well, I'm sure it's good. It's good business tack on them to have that legal stuff like ready to go. But the other weird thing too is it just shows the difference of what Destiny, Bungie as a company is willing to do versus places like Activision, Call of Duty, and a lot of like CSGO and all this other stuff, because the same place, Perfect Aim or whatever, is still offering services for other first-person shooters, and they've been up for a while, and like
they won't be going anywhere.
Yeah, because like Activision's like not gonna take, you know what I mean? Like they're not gonna do anything against that.
No.
And they don't, quite frankly, I don't think they care, because there's a lot of cheating in Call of Duty games too, especially on their battle royale services, and
especially when you have a franchise that's every year on the dime constantly, you're gonna be like, well, sorry guys, you got a year where you're gonna have to live with this or not play.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's worked for those companies too, because they're probably like, oh, new game, got to write a new bot. Oh, new game, got to write a new cheat. And it's like, but at the same time, they're not trying to put a stop to it or whatever. They have anti-cheat methods, but if the bot's there and working, money's going to keep going to them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm sure there's two sides of it.
Yeah, that's one of the pluses, though, going into this new update Beyond Light, is that it looks like they are putting emphasis on cheaters, even though they don't openly say they are, like people would like. So hopefully, fingers crossed, cheating's not too bad. And I haven't seen as many cheaters as of late, so that's good. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I did hop on like 2 days after that announcement, and I was like, let's just see how it is. And I saw myself at the top of the scoreboard on PC, and I was like, that's right. That's where I belong, right there.
I'm back at home, boys.
Back, baby. So it's plus I've like adapted my Warlock playstyle on PvP quite a lot.
Oh, dude, you've been doing good.
My blink is absolutely disgusting.
Oh, the Blinky boys. You guys don't want to see the Blinky boys in comp. Let's tell you that.
Yeah, so just to give you an idea, me and Stack rocked Warlock builds that were just constantly blink. I think we shotgun too, didn't we?
You did.
So like we would just be all over a team, like blinking and shotgunning them down, like in their face, and it's just a giant skirmish. It was
great.
It's like oh man, I don't even know what movie scene that would be close to, but it felt like something out of John Wick.
It felt like something out of like Dragon Ball is what it felt like. Like, where are they?
You'll never find me up here. Oh no, he's above me. So good.
Oh my god. I wish you could blink on the Kamehameha super. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
Just blink up and just do the whole
on
blast
Chaos
down.
Reach. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh my god.
Imagine blinking while it's out. Imagine doing some instant Kamehameha stuff. Like you're about to let off, and then if you blink and aim at the person, you blink behind them, and then it's just like Chaos Reach in their back, and then you have
Dude, let me an RPG design a super.
Just let us design some cool exotics with some ability perks and stuff built in. No big deal. I mean, 90% of the content will be Warlock based, but it's cool.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be fine.
No big deal. No big deal. And I'm still so weirded out that I played Titan for so long exclusively, and then I picked up Warlock. I'm like, this sucks. A week later, I'm a Warlock main.
Dude,
don't talk to me anymore.
Legit the same thing. I went through all of Destiny 1 with just a Titan. Went into Destiny 2, only a Titan. Forsaken comes out, did it as a Titan. I was like, all right, let me do a Warlock. Never looked back.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
You feel so fast. You can heal. You never die.
Yeah, I think
there's so much.
The healing part for sure always feels good compared to like a Titan putting up a wall and praying that nobody rushes you, when you're in that animation. I've always felt like Warlock can push back a little harder or get out of the way quicker compared to my Titans. Although don't get me wrong, like I've ran into some nasty Titans that make me go, all right, maybe I'll try that build next time on my Titan, because that was sick. Like that fucked me up.
Yeah, no, some Titans are just insane. Hell, I've even seen we've talked about you going and winning an Iron Banner match for me, and then I had to play Iron Banner.
So there's a couple times where me and Stack played, and I was playing Titan, and I'd call shots in PvP, and I'd be like, we were losing by I think like 25, 26 points or something like that in this Iron Banner match. Yeah, it was a good chunk. Like there's no like everybody thought there's no way we were coming back. And I was like, all right, Stack, if I get us back all these points, I was like, you have to stream Iron Banner, because he doesn't like streaming Iron Banner. I mean, who would?
At the time, I didn't.
Yeah, because it like nothing. There was really nothing there. And he's like, okay, cool, deal. I popped super and like just started slaughtering the team. Absolute domination of Iron Banner, and we won. Like, not only did I get the points back, we closed that deal, and we were ahead by like 10 points.
Yeah,
and he was like,
it was a great one.
All right, I guess I'm doing that.
Streaming Iron Banner.
And then we were
man of my word.
And then we were playing with a buddy once. It was me, you, and I think Booth. So Booth of Wool over on Twitch. He was what happened? I think you two died.
Oh, it was comp.
It was comp. And you two died, and I had to get 3 kills. And you're like, oh, all right, just die, because like you're not gonna get the 3 kills, something like that.
You're like, no.
I was like, no, I got it. 3 kills coming up. I slammed the ground as Titan. Dune Marchers warps out to all the teams, kills 2 of them, and then I punched the last dude, and it was over. And I was like, all right, 3 kills, because I think it was really so funny because I called it. I was like, 3 kills coming up, and then not even a second later, ding, ding, ding,
all of them,
all 3. And then we won that round, and they were pissed. They played passive.
Oh,
we
won after that. Yeah.
They played super passive. They didn't get as aggressive. They're like, that Titan hurts. No more, please. That was good. Yeah. So I don't know, man. There's so much going on with Beyond Light, and I know like this is our first episode, so there's just so much to catch up on.
There is. I definitely think we should give these people like the most up to date we can.
Mm-hmm.
So we did talk about consoles, 60 FPS, 4K for Xbox Series S and PlayStation 5 when that update does come out. We do have if you guys haven't heard, we do have the vaulting of a lot of old content. So that is something we can touch on. It's a lot of the year 1 planets getting taken out of the game along with their content.
Right. So we're losing planets: Mercury, Io, Mars, Io. Titan. Mm-hmm. So all 4 of those, including their quest lines, strikes, and They did say they were keeping, I think, a couple Crucible maps. Yeah, so they said to Crucible, that's what it was. So we're losing all those strikes, quests, and nodes on those planets, because those planets, literally, you can't land on them anymore.
Exactly.
But they did say, since we don't have that many PvP maps, if we pulled these, the rotation would get real stale, they feel like. So they are keeping locations that are on those planets that do have some kind of semblance with a PvP map. They're going to keep it. Because they're like, it doesn't make any sense to pull these currently.
Exactly.
Some maps I think are getting pulled, but I think they pulled them for like a while now, and they're just officially getting rid of it out of the game box. So
yeah, they're taking all the long range maps.
Yeah, so I think Callus's thing, which hasn't been in rotation for a while now, but they're like, yeah, we're officially backing this one out, because like it's just not in rotation. Hasn't been for a while. We don't know if you guys noticed, but like this map's not going to be there. I was like, sick. Okay, cool, whatever. So that's pretty cool.
So those are gone. There was, I'm missing something here. I mean, there is the exotics. Those are like RPGZieg quests tied to those old planets will be gone, which includes exotics. They did say they will bring those back in a different season. They haven't said when.
They said we're going to find a way to introduce those quest exotics into the sandbox at some point, but it's not like a priority currently, which good on them, because I didn't get Rat King. I don't care. I have like 3 skins for it from the darn engrams, and like it just doesn't. It's cool, but like needing more players to carry it, it's just the perk on it is so weird. If they revamp that gun and bring it back and then release it, that's what I want. Like
that was also the same time they had exotics like Aeon Souls,
right?
And we know how those went.
They tried to change those up a little bit, but it's like I still can't put it on. There's no
you
way.
don't get enough benefit
You
out of it.
don't.
Even in things like GMs where you need to be a team, doesn't help.
It doesn't help, right? And I think that's a good point. If it doesn't stack up or is useful in those areas, it's pretty much like Promethean Spurs. Like, why is that even a
Oh,
thing?
man.
Well, that'll be another episode again. We'll tear apart Exotic and say, like, why is this a thing? So yeah, we're gonna get Planets Gone, Missions Quest, all that revamped. New content, Europa, new planet, which is where most of this content is gonna take place. NPCs relocated. Eris will be on Europa. Eris also, or Drifter will be on Europa, and then the Stranger's coming back, which is a old character from Destiny 1 back in the heyday.
Yeah, base game.
I'm not gonna lie real quick because it is about her. No Time to Explain coming back and that perk on it.
That perk. So
I need to know. So what it does is you get a kill or a headshot, I think, kill or something like that. And it says opens up a rift to another dimension where your gun is still firing. And essentially it's like an arc soul that fires bullets at the target. So you can reload your gun and that thing's just still firing shots off, which 100%, is sick.
100% good on Bungie for that idea and that way to pull it back into the lore, and everything about that is awesome.
Yeah, awesome. That is a good reimagining of an exotic with a story piece on it for sure.
Exactly. Really good job on them.
And then speaking of exotics,
dynamic weather on Europa.
Yeah. Did you see what they did talk about? They were like, hey, there is going to be like snowstorms and blizzards and it'll be hard to see at times. We did think about incorporating wind into things, but they said that would probably get really annoying. So they decided to not have wind be an influence. And they gave like a good example. They were like, if you throw a grenade into the wind and it comes back and sticks to you, we thought that would be a bad player experience. And I was like, good point. Because could you imagine throwing a grenade into the wind and like your grenade,
magnetic grenade, just like
it just goes and then like throwing it like into the against the wind or whatever. So like it goes way further than you expected. Like you're trying to tag this guy 10 feet in front of you and you just whip that thing down like 100 yards. That would suck.
Oh my God.
That would suck. I'd be so mad.
I'm excited for that. I am excited for the dynamic weather. Happy they didn't throw in wind.
Yeah. That'll make some scopes useful. Like the ones that outline enemies in red and stuff like that. I'm hoping that gives me a reason to go, okay, I like this gun. Doesn't have the scope I want. I need to grind one for when weather gets bad. Almost put like a little survival visual effect on it. Ooh.
Dude, I can't wait.
Me too. That's gonna be good.
We are trying to run down the less meaty things here for you guys. Just some background things, which I think we've gotten through.
I think it's mostly changes. New supers, obviously, Stasis, which is pretty much like cosmic snow dust.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just an ice subclass. It's just an ice subclass. Dope. New exotics, they gave us quite a few, 2 per each character, at least shown in one of the trailers. So 2 armor pieces for each one.
I am under the camp, I think, that this is going to be a lot like Forsaken I think we might get a small other area that we can go to. Well, at least I'm hoping.
What do you mean, like community, or do you mean like a hub?
Remember how remember how it was Tangled Shore was the main area for Forsaken?
Yeah.
It also dropped the Dreaming City at the end of the story.
Oh, I get what you mean. Yeah.
So I am kind of under that. I know it's tinfoil hat, but I am kind of hoping, because they never brought it up, that there was going to be another area.
That's true. And that was one of the coolest parts of Forsaken was...
Yeah, opening up the Dreaming City was memorable. Like, you're like, whoa.
You're like, whoa. I'm in this weird misty plain stuff. Where am I? And you're like, this is a new place? I was like, this is sick. And they kept that...
And that ended up being the end game. Like, your whole end game for that DLC was the Dreaming City. You didn't really go back to the Tangled Shore.
Yeah, and then Dreaming City had its own thing. And that was so well kept under wraps, though. I think that was the coolest part about it, was like everybody's like, oh, Tangled Shore, all this rustic looking armor, and oh, everything looks so cryptic, and oh, everything's so fucked up here in the Tangled Shore. Then you go to Dreaming City and it's like
it's just beautiful.
Absolutely.
It was like Final Fantasy, like going into a Final Fantasy area almost.
That's a good point.
I was like, whoa.
So but that's cool. I don't think I've heard any content creator or otherwise
it's
talk
literally
about
just
it.
Been, I think it was like Asdacross made like a slide remark about it, like, who knows, maybe we'll get a whole nother area. And I was like, yo, that would be pretty dope if they did it again. They were able to keep a secret again,
because Europa, correct me if I'm wrong, Moon of Saturn, right? Or
I believe so.
Oh, let me look it up. Hold on. Let me look, because now
it might be Jupiter. It might be Jupiter.
Europa
I'm not 100% sure.
Moon. Let me see.
But I think that would be cool.
Or orbiting Jupiter. You're right.
It is Jupiter?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Jupiter.
I do think that if the same possibility could be said about exotics, that could have just been some of the exotics that come out in this game.
I think that's what that is.
A few more.
I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I think we're going to get more, whether it's quest or whether it's finishing the storyline, and then you get like a piece from that, which they've done in the past.
I don't think we've seen it all.
Gosh, I hope not.
I don't think we've seen it all.
I need more. Like, I absolutely need more.
100%.
I need that grind for sure. And then the raid 2 weeks after, we kind of talked about, but that's a big story piece in and of itself, because we're going to the place where exos are made.
Exos. And if you guys didn't know, exos are a playable type of character, and they're like another form of human in this universe.
But they're mechs.
They're like a mech that someone's what's the word I'm looking for here? Mentality and all that is put into, I guess.
Yeah, it's your human subconsciousness, your entire human idealism put into a robot body. Like, you're a human, you're just an exo, and that's it.
Human.
Yep. So
that's going to be great. And then I think we're pretty much caught up to the point of last week. And then this week was the big sandbox update.
Yeah, so Bungie does this thing called the TWAB this week at Bungie. Is the why am I spacing on what that is, Stack?
This week at Bungie is a weekly update kind of from Bungie about Destiny in different aspects, what they're going to update, what modes will be in the game, what changes they're planning to make. And this week's was a sandbox update. They didn't specify PvP or PvE, but after reading it, I see it more as a PvP update. There's a few that are kind of like random bits thrown in there, but a lot of changes to weapons in this. This is mainly a weapon update that they're showing. Yeah. And there's a lot.
I feel like
there's a lot of changes.
I feel like a lot of them we knew was going to happen. Some of these, me and Stack have kind of talked about already. We're happy with some of them, not happy with some others, because we feel like in the long run, it's just going to probably get patched again. I think is like the best way of putting it. Because like, not that it'll be broken, but I think a lot of these patches are going to bring up some unique experiences, especially with the loot that's introduced when this DLC comes out. I have a feeling that certain archetypes are going to float to the top if they decide to make new archetypes with these other guns.
Yes.
And so, I don't know, man. Like, where do you want to start with some of this to talk about that TWAB? Because
we can work our way down if you want to go just kind of in order.
Yeah. So big one. Because like it's got the title is pretty much based around it, is hand cannons.
Yeah,
like hand cannons have always been a staple in Destiny. They're just really big, like single. What's the word I'm looking for?
It's like a revolver, like a big badass.
Yeah,
revolver
it's like,
the best way to put it.
It's like a 45 Magnum meets crack.
Pretty much, yeah. You just feel like you're strong. You're a strong man.
Yeah,
when you have this gun in your hand.
And like those guns have always played in favor of hitting precision shots rather than just like firing off a bunch of bullets into like something's body. So like there has always been that feel or contempt to like be skillful with the weapon, as opposed to something like a pulse rifle or an auto rifle where you could literally are just throwing bullets as fast as you can.
Spraying.
Yeah, spraying and praying. They're changing up a lot of the archetypes, which I feel like is good. I'm also scared for some of the, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to think of like how to word this the best, so like it's just clean and doesn't take too long. There's a slow shooting archetype, a 110 hand cannon, 110 rounds per minute, aggressive frames. They hit hard like a truck. They just shot really slow, so like every shot mattered. If you missed a shot, there's a chance
you lost
that
the fight pretty much.
Yeah, you lost. There was no forgiveness on that. So they're changing them from 110 RPMs, round per minute, to 120s. So that should give a little bit more forgiveness in there, which is kind of cool. So I am excited about that change. I really was hoping they were going to buff the magazine a little bit so you didn't have to reload as much since you're shooting so slow. But it doesn't look like they did that at all.
I do feel, I mean, so a lot of the like legendary ones you could supplement that with outlaw. Like you had to get some kind of reload perk.
Yeah.
But the fact that reload perks, we'll get into it later, other than outlaw, are still in a nerfed form, doesn't help them out. But I do like that they did give them a little buff in range that we're about to go over here, which was always the strong suit of those hand cannons. Was they were the sniper hand cannon. Like you could kind of shoot a little bit further than the faster firing hand cannons.
Yeah, so they gave us now five more meters on the range.
Yeah.
For 100 range now, so it starts at 25 meters versus previously, which was 20 meters. So yeah, like Stack is saying, just further down the range on it. And then
and just in aggressives, they'll have their fall off will start at 32. So they're gonna have a bit more range than those other. If that's how I'm reading that correctly.
Where at?
Damage fall off for 100 range in this subfamily now starts at 32.
I got 25 meters on my screen.
Above.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry. Yeah, damage fall off.
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, okay.
Now starts at 32. Okay, yeah.
So they're going to have quite a bit more range than your other normal hand cannon.
Yeah.
They're going to be more in line with like an auto that can hit at full range.
Right. Which is
good. I like that. Yeah. I like that you can use more. Like me personally, I like hand cannons just because of how they feel and shoot and sound.
Right.
And I'd like to be able to kind of. I always liked Sturm. Sturm was one of my favorite hand cannons.
It's a good hand cannon.
So that'll be. But no, then RPG got into it. This next bit is the big. We're getting into the bigger news here, going down the line.
Yeah, it breaks down all these archetypes by so much. So like adapted and precision frames, they're getting their range. That's the 25 meters, which was originally 20 meters. So they got a little bit more range on them. And then the magazine size for
just precisions
with 180 rounds rate of fire is scaled up by 37%. So the cannons that could just pop off rounds left and right can now pop off rounds left and right and not have to reload as often, which is good because like that kind of puts it in line with what's the word? That exotic rapid fire frame thing that heals you. Crimson. Crimson.
Yeah, Crimson. Yeah. Crimson and Malfeasance. Both of those are I think those are both 180s.
Yeah, but I think everybody's going to feel a little bit better about that. And that might put that archetype somewhere if they have like new perks on them. Because like Malfeasance is cool because you land 5 slugs in a body. It does a big explosion. That's sick.
I'm pretty sure that just kills someone.
Yeah, that'll just nuke somebody, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's good for PvE too. But there's guns that do it better and are legendary and don't require an exotic. So that's the thing you're competing with. That big slug shot should be like a giant chunk of damage. Exactly. Like getting those 5 should be like noteworthy damage. Otherwise it's like, why am I gonna I'll just put on Gnawing Hunger. I'll just put on Steel Feather. There's no point.
Something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big news for hand cannons is they nuked 150s. 150 hand cannons.
Spare Rations was in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a hand cannon that was just like a cut above all the rest, and that was Spare Rations. That's a lightweight frame.
Yeah, lightweights as a whole are gone. That means that perk lightweight frame is gone. That means you won't move faster with those guns in your hand. And guns mainstays like Dire Promise. What's that other one I'm thinking in the legendary Dreaming City hand cannon?
Waking Vigil. There you go.
Those won't be the strength that they were at the strength they were. They're going to be 140s now in the same lines of something like Midnight Coup, and there's another Old Fashioned.
Yeah, Old Fashioned, Dire Promise. Yeah,
they're going to be all folded together, so making the hand cannon family a lot smaller,
which is sick. I definitely think maybe some archetypes shouldn't exist to an extent. You know what I mean? In some of those. Because it's like, because there's always going to be that archetype that's preferred, like every time, whether it's by the player or by the sandbox dictating you to having to like that because it's so much better than the rest.
And that's why 150s are better. They're just the better version of a 140. You got the same range and a faster fire rate. Because
now the guns are spaced out evenly. So now we got 110, 140s, and then 180s.
Yeah.
So now we're not looking at minute differences like 140 to 150s. Exactly. You know, like that little bit of rate of fire was so different before.
I'm sure that someone that watches plays Destiny is screaming at me, by the way. I didn't forget that Sunshot is still a 150. Correct me. Sunshot will be the only 150 in this game.
Correct. Which means
Sunshot meta.
Sunshot's going to be meta. That's right, baby. Have you tried doing that catalyst yet on that gun?
I have it done.
It
I
is,
finished it.
it is a chore, dude.
It is.
I don't
I hate it.
I don't think it tracks right. It says like kills with
doesn't.
explosions, and I'm literally killing groups of thralls, and it's like 2%. I was like, I shot
No,
one bullet, I killed 12 thrall. There's no
Yeah.
way that's 2%.
I think it legit counts just per explode. Like one explosion, you get a kill. It doesn't count.
It counts the
extras,
one, right? That's what I think
I
too.
think so.
I think the counter's
'Cause it
messed up
takes-
on it.
Forever.
Yeah. I keep that one. I think it's on my hunter, on my warlock, but like I bust it out on like solar strikes. I'm like, oh, I'll put this on.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy choice.
I will say though, speaking of solar stuff, I have been digging and clowning on people with Tommy's matchbook.
I tried it the other day, and you know me, not a big auto rifle guy. That thing's fun. That thing's fun.
It's fun, and it makes you play differently because like you have
Yeah.
to be more aware of your health because the gun literally tries to kill you.
Kills you.
And so like you're just like, okay, how can I beat this guy? But man, if you ramp the thing up and nobody's taking shots at you, it's mow down city. Like you're just three guardians, a yellow bar enemy. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh, it's gone now.
Yeah, when I first got it, I was like, oh, cool. We got a budget version of Sweet Business.
Yeah.
But no, that feels a lot better than Sweet Business did.
Yeah, I like the ramp up damage on it. It's pretty sick. So yeah, I think Sunshot meta is like almost guaranteed at
I
this
think so, too.
point. Because like if
I think that for sure, like you're saying, that will be strong. And I think 120s will actually be able to shine now in the right hands.
yeah, it's so hard to say like how a 120 is actually going to be good unless like
Oh,
unless
100%.
we see somebody else out in the field that has the right perk combo that
Just
complements
mowing
their
through
style. Yeah, until we see it in the wild and get our hands on it, it's really hard to say like if that change is really going to make those guns stand out because I have a lot of Criminal's daggers that I'm just holding on to because I think the gun looks sick and it's a hand cannon. I'd love to go back to the hand cannon meta, but they don't hang. Like 110s just don't hang with anything.
Nope. That's why I'm excited. Like I said, I love Sturm. Like I used to go, I think my first 5,500 season, I used Sturm for most of it. So I want to be able to use it again. I think that what dictates that style of hand cannon being good though is going to be snipers. And I think that a lot of people are upset with these sniper changes or lack of sniper changes that we got.
Yeah, because that's the next part, right? It says sniper changes. We want sniper rifles to feel powerful without being so easy to use that they dominate. And so the only thing they did was adjust the aim assist on low zoom because they were saying low zoom for some reason in our sandbox dictates a higher aim assist versus like a high zoom closer to target reticle that doesn't have as much aim assist. So now lowest zoom scopes have a large reduction in aim assist. So this is what's the word I'm looking for? This is an unexpected nerf to guns like Revoker, which has like one of the lower quick scopes in the game for snipers, which was one of the pinnacle weapons. And then high zoom scopes have a small increase, which is good because they did show off the next pinnacle sniper. It's pretty much beloved 2.0, a favored current sandbox sniper rifle, which is energy, an energy type. And so now the higher zoom essentially is what you're going to try and go for. Maybe not the highest because that'll kill your field of view and your peripheral vision.
Exactly.
So you're going to have to find that balancing act between your scopes and kind of just go from there. I'm curious though if that'll be good for Eye of Soul, the trial sniper. I want to know if what that's considered.
That is a pretty far zoom on that one, at least on mine.
It's mid though, so it's like a mid zoom is what it's considered. Yeah. So I know they just said low and high zoom. So I really don't know if adaptive mid frames are going to get changed or not.
What it actually does state, let me see if I can find it.
Sure.
Yeah, higher zoom scopes with around 50 zoom are unchanged. So I think that it might be okay.
Okay.
So I think I'm actually trying to find right now on Beloved what it sits at, because I'm pretty sure that's one of the higher aim assist current sniper rifles.
And I think don't quote me, but I'm almost pretty sure Beloved is higher than even Eye of Soul in the zoom, or it might be like right on point with it. But I know it's a lot more than Revoker, no doubt.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, Revoker is going to be the one that gets. This is the heaviest handed hit that gun's probably ever going to get.
I think
take that
since old Pinnacles can't go above 1060 light level right now, and now this zoom thing's changing, I think I'm ready to like put Revoker down. Revoker's like my favorite sniper. I even use it in PvE content, and now I probably won't even do that. There's no way I can do flick snipes now. I feel like it's going to be too big of a hit, and I'll like get way off point.
Yeah, I've currently been trying to use Eye of Soul, like get used to how that gun feels, and I like it a lot. Just the scope is so much different.
Yeah, Provoker has such a sweet scope on it, man.
It's perfect. It's literally perfect.
It was literally the perfect pinnacle sniper, no doubt, for a current sandbox.
Then after that, now we call him the king of auto rifles.
Gnawing Hunger.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you talk about your babies.
Let me go over this. So, auto rifles in Season of the Worthy, the adaptive archetype 600 rate of fire was given a buff. They're going to pull that back a little bit to keep it in check with the other auto rifle archetypes. So adaptives now, damage per bullet reduced from 15.75 to 14.25. So pretty much a full point. And then note, prior to Season of the Worthy, bullet damage per bullet was 13.75. So they bumped it up from they gave it 2 extra damage, and now they're pretty much reducing it by like 1, essentially, which they're saying should drop it in line. Here's the thing that I want to talk about a little bit. I feel like the only reason this auto rifle archetype in particular is getting looked at is simply for the fact for Gnawing Hunger existing. Because the only auto rifle that is good this current season that we were given is a reskinned Gnawing Hunger, brought up with better loot potential in terms of like perk combinations versus the old one, which came back in like Season of the Drifter. And then the other auto rifle they gave us this season was, I think, False Promises, which is, I think it's False Promises, that, or that's the pulse rifle I'm thinking of. I don't know. But it's,
no, you're right. Cold Denial is the pulse. Cold Denial is the pulse.
Okay, so False Promises, which I think is like a 450. It's like a slow firing
meta.
Right. Yeah. So I think they should have just looked at other archetypes and brought them up a little bit.
Honestly, if there was a nerf that I wanted on 600s, it was just a slight range nerf. That was it.
Yeah.
I didn't even want damage nerfed. It was bring the 600s down in range a bit, because they can take a pulse at full distance almost. Right.
And I've always used auto rifles in PvP for like a long time. Like when Origins, I think it's Origin Story. Yeah, Origin Story from the Vanguard, that was my baby. Horror Story came out, that was my baby. And then we got Braytech Werewolf came out, Festival of the Lost, that's my baby.
I remember you liking that one. Yep.
I love that gun. I picked up the new revamped one and pulled it from collections just so I have it moving forward. Because I feel like 450s, they will get to a very good spot, and because they are slow firing, less recoil, they're gonna be like the range auto rifle you want, essentially. Yeah, I feel it. I feel like it's there. It needs to happen.
Age Old Bond for a little bit even felt good because it was super far range. It was a max range auto.
Ringing the Nail, I think is what the Black Armory one was called. God, so
I like that one too.
So good.
The sound on all those weapons
was so good.
Was amazing.
So
great
good.
Sound design.
Gnawing Hunger and Summoner being in the 600 field. This is kind of like an unwanted nerf to things like Summoner, which I don't feel like should happen, because Summoner was already having a hard time keeping up with Gnawing Hunger because of that range difference that Stack's talking about. Because you can just roll a better combination typically on a Gnawing Hunger, and you can roll the weapon so much easier by doing the Umbral thing. So that's why I feel like this nerf probably shouldn't have happened. And the only reason everybody's talking about it is because the gun is so accessible. It doesn't mean the gun was overpowered. It's just that everybody used it, so everybody thought it was a problem. But we didn't have other options. It's not like I didn't want to use Braytech Werewolf. It's just Braytech Werewolf sucks in PvP. Yeah. And like it's pretty good in PvE, but it is lackluster damage.
Exactly.
In PvE.
It's not worth the pick.
No,
you're gonna always want to pick the weapon that gives you the most return for what you're using, and it's Gnawing Hunger. It's basically a long range recluse.
Yeah, even besides that, like the perk combination too is just night and day difference.
Like you can almost, as much as you want, get it as close to what Recluse used to be with reload perks and all that shit, damage perks.
And then the other guns that I feel like are now going to step up finally, and I've got a few like waiting to go, is rapid fire frames. I love rapid fire frames since they introduced Steel Feather. Steel Feather, I still have mine from Season of Savior. So fucking good.
I remember you were like, this
I was like, this gun awesome. Fucks. I'm like, this gun absolutely fucks. And I feel like the only reason I even dropped off from using it is because Gnawing Hunger existed. Gnawing Hunger was more accessible, and you can't roll any more steel feathers. So
Yeah, no, it's
a little difficult.
It's too good.
It was really frustrating.
It's rated on Light GG as a 4.4 in pretty much both categories.
Yeah, and Light
Crucible
GG,
and PvE.
just so anybody doesn't know, it's like where you can check like on equipment what people have got, user rating scores, stuff like that. It's essentially the Craigslist of guns
Pretty
for
much.
Destiny.
It's got
You're
a-
like, oh, what can I get on it? Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I guess I'll give it like a 4.4 out of 5 stars. You can rate your gun and what you got.
I legit used to joke about this. This is legit on their website, and I don't know how close and accurate it is. Found by 99.09% of Guardians using light.gg.
Because literally all you have
Everyone.
to do is play the
Is-
prismatic engram stuff.
Yep.
Or the umbral engram stuff, put it in the decoder,
Yeah.
and you're done. Like you're gonna get one or not several
And
really
even
good
if you
rolls.
have bad perks, the gun just carries you.
Yeah, the gun's good at base.
And so trying to keep moving on here. We
Yeah.
got scouts. I like scouts. I really enjoyed Jade Rabbit, one of my favorite guns.
You like scout rifles?
I do like scout
I
rifles. I
think-
like single shot high precision weapons. Like
Me-
that's always been my
Me
favorite.
too, but I like. Do you remember when they gave us the Pinnacle scout rifle?
Oh, never used it.
That's
Never-
when I was
never
hurt
used
by Bungie on like a personal level, because like all I used in Destiny 1 was scout
scouts.
rifles. They were so
Yeah,
good.
that was your. Yep.
They were the
Mhm.
Swiss Army knife of range. If you couldn't snipe, you could at least throw down some damage from afar. And if you were good around the corners with it, you could actually like make a
Peek
mess
shot. You just kind of
in Crucible. Yeah, you could
peek out and shoot them.
yeah, you just mess people up. Hung Jury was so good.
Yeah,
That's
Andre
like
was-
that's where every scout rifle should be, like in my opinion, is at least right around that area. But the reasons they gave for the scout rifle changes, Stack, do you want to read that off real quick?
So I am upset with this, and I know a lot of
I am too.
higher up PvP, even RPG, higher end PvP content creators are upset. They didn't buff them because they say they'd be too strong, which not on the maps that we have in the game currently do I believe that. And two, the actual buff to these was just increased aim assist. So you can shoot someone in their thigh and it'll count as a headshot. That's basically what they did.
At further
Um,
range, which I guess is kind of cool, but again, it takes
It-
away from the reason we like it, which is precision shooting, like actually taking the
Exactly.
time to get that aim lined up.
I know I'm not I wouldn't say I'm a high enough person in this PvP community to say this, but I agree with a lot of them when I say that making guns easier to use for a less engaged audience doesn't help guns be better. It just makes them easy to use.
Well,
And I don't agree with
It
that.
makes the like, and this is no offense to anybody, but it makes like the lower 10% now consider putting a scout rifle into their equipment. So like now guns like, I don't know, Night Watch, now
Yeah.
instead of having like a 8% player range that only 8%
gonna
of all
spike.
players, yeah, it's gonna spike to like maybe 12 or 13% because now people are considering it. Does it make it good? I can tell you this right now, if I've got to put a whole mag into something in PvE and it's a red bar enemy, that gun's underpowered.
Yeah,
For
100%.
sure. For sure. I don't need to melt
actually-
everything, but it's like, come on. Like if I can't bring this into PvE and feel comfortable using it and pushing enemies away with it, there's a problem there. Like something's disconnecting.
And then like you're saying, like, and that's just PvE wise. Like PvE, you don't see scouts. Like, there's
Right.
no reason to use a scout. You have no reason at all. And that was why a lot of people like me stopped using hand cannons. Was you can't kill a thrall with one shot with a hand cannon. You can't do it with a scout either. That completely nullifies the fact to use those weapons in PvE.
With a low mag size and precision based
Exactly.
shooting being their forte, and you're hitting the precision shots and you're not chunking damage. Yeah. There's no point.
Exactly.
There's no point in bringing that
Ridiculous.
thing around anymore. Agreed.
And now, really weird buff to me. Rocket launcher's got a buff in their inventory stat.
Because they're trying to
You
make
get to
it
carry-
viable again. Rockets just
yeah.
aren't in a good spot at all.
I didn't see that one coming. I was like, whoa,
Because
that one in we'll get to the other one. It was
Yeah.
Merciless.
Merciless.
Merciless got a magazine buff. Or a reserve ammo buff.
Which one's Merciless? The
The
exotic?
fusion rifle that if you
Oh, dude.
if you don't
no.
kill something, it increases the damage.
Yeah, I can't. I like that gun's not even in my repertoire because fusion rifles are in a bad spot.
Yeah. No, why would you do that? What?
I don't like.
no one's going into Leviathan like you're one like, oh, we need to use Merciless to get rid of the lamps. What?
No, that's the thing too. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that one's the hardest to swallow out of this whole TWAB. This fusion rifle, which is a fusion rifle, is getting an ammo capacity bump. Great.
Not damage or anything on the legendary.
Why would I take a fusion rifle anywhere if it's not Jotun?
Exactly.
Like, why
or
would
even
I
a
do
rental
that?
if you want to go into comp? Like,
Yeah, like, oh, Aerontil.
yep.
Aerontil FR4.
Forget about that one?
No, that one haunts me in my nightmares. The best hitting, lowest skill crap, whatever fusion rifle. That thing, I don't even think it's a fusion rifle, dude. I think it's just a shotgun branded as a fusion rifle skin. The thing doesn't behave like a fusion rifle. The windup is almost non-existent on that, by the way.
Oh, no. It's beep, boom.
Beep, boom. Yep. Ridiculous.
So we got those. Rocket launchers will get an increased reserve from 1 to 2. So you're going to get an increased pickup on your bricks now.
But it doesn't mean you'll be able to carry more than 6.
Nope, you're just going to pick them up.
So it's like, what's the point? Like, I blow 6 rounds of rocket, does nowhere near as much as my 65 rounds of sword ammo.
No.
What am I doing with my life?
So that's a small, quick thing we can touch on there. The next one up, I'm happy with. I think a lot of people will be. Outlaw got a small buff. It's going to go from plus 50% to plus 70.
Yeah.
So reloads will be quicker again. It's good. Merciless, like we touched on. And then we got the big news that people have been waiting on.
The nerfing of a long-awaited weapon.
I wouldn't even call this a nerf. I think this is more of a put it in line with other things. I think it's still going to be good for some people, not many.
I think it doesn't ruin the reason it's good. So, like, do you want me to read these off real quick so we can get down to it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Mountaintop, which is a kinetic grenade launcher, they said they've had a lot of feedback from it. I know people rage about it. I know I use it when I'm feeling like I can't win a match. I'll pull the thing out.
Oh yeah, that's the win all end all.
Yeah, that's where you get really skeezy with your plays and you just hope it all works out. But specific pain points was 1 shot to body with infinite range. People didn't like that. Quick and easy cleanup. If you wound them, even around corners, you could pop the thing off because it's dome damage, essentially. It's a grenade going off, so it has some range around corners. Deals high splash damage, rewards player for an accuracy. So if you don't hit the body, which was a 1 kill, if you hit the ground and they're next to it, they think that you really shouldn't receive splash damage for it. Perfect in-air accuracy allowed Guardians to rain death from, above, which, like we were just saying, skeezy plays, you get in the air and you just shoot down.
That's probably the biggest one about the whole gun is the fact that you just look somewhere and shoot and it's going in that direction.
Yeah.
It's not going to veer.
You don't have to worry about the grenade dropping off because its perk is called micro missile and it just propels itself that distance infinitely with no drop off. So it was like every time you knew where the thing was going. Cursor's there, it's going to end up there at that point.
Exactly.
Changes they're making to address a lot of these pain points: reduce the splash damage by 33%, increased impact damage such that the total damage is 5% lower than before. So that's the verbiage I'm not too sure on. So it sounds like splash damage, cool, reduced. But it also sounds like the overall impact might change a little bit. So it might be 33% down, then an additional number.
I think that's going to be more of a PvE buff, unless you can always direct shot people in PvP with it. That's definitely going to keep it alive in lower end PvE content, but not much.
Reduced projectile velocity multiplier from micro missile perk from 1.4 to 1.2. Now 20% faster than other breach grenade launchers instead of 40%. So what I'm thinking is the micro missile just travels slower now. It's not as quick. So I guess
it's not going to be like an instant because it's almost if you're shooting in a Crucible match, you don't have time to move most of the time.
No.
It shoots so fast.
Yeah, it's good.
So I think now you'll have a little like dodging hunters will be able to get out of the way.
And then the last one was reduce that in-air accuracy. Now has significant projectile air while in air, around 7 degrees without Icarus grip mod, substantially less with. So,
That's the one that I know a lot of people are kind of upset about, just because the meta was to run, what was it? As soon as you shoot something, you can swap faster. Your quick access swing or something.
Yeah. Yep.
So now you just put on Icarus and you have old Mountaintop back.
But the thing with that is like the gun's not exactly the slowest thing to switch out anyway.
Exactly. Like as long as you have quick draw on your next gun, you're still gonna.
You
pull
don't
the next
even
gun
need
out
quick draw. You know what I mean? Like
No,
you
yeah.
shoot while you're dropping to the ground, you're switching to your next gun already. And it's
Exactly.
very rare while you're falling at free falling speed that somebody guns you out. Usually they're
Exactly.
trying to catch up with your falling body to put the cursor on you to pull the trigger. So it's like that's the casual player experience right now is like that person had time on a previous season to grind mountaintop and now has it. Current player doesn't have it. They're vocal and upset that they're getting domed on by mountaintop and then a quick access switch. You know what's going to make a gun come out of the woodworks if this mountaintop nerf is actually more extreme than what we're thinking it is looking at numbers? Ariana's Vow will come back with a vengeance because that gun
that
does so much damage to body and you switch, clean up one shot.
Yep.
There's a lot of other guns that open up that quick switch to a second gun for cleanup. And a lot of people don't use it right now because Mountaintop has been good in the air and the ground.
Good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean Ariana's Vow can't have the same treatment if you practice with it.
Exactly.
So-
And I was gonna say, if you go watch people like big PvP people, Frostbolt, Asda Cross, Cammy Cakes, I'm pretty sure Cammy Cakes did a whole video about using a bow and using Hush and Ariana's.
Yep.
So that you could just pop people real quick.
Yep.
But I don't think that this weapon's dead. I think that in quick play, I think that in comp, lower end comp, you'll still see a lot of mountaintop. I think once you get to the higher end, people have enough mobility to not be affected by this weapon as much.
Right.
But I still think lower end, like 1 to 2100, will be infested with mountaintop still.
Agreed. And that's the thing too. Like, it's only going to change in our trial sandbox or Iron Banner sandbox that actually look at light level, and then everything else is still going to be initiating control. Still going to be a thing there. They might have to put in a little bit more effort on maybe putting an extra bullet in your body if they splash damage you with mountaintop. But if they were already able to prey on you by getting mountaintop on you once, and you're just now returning fire, chances are there's no way you land your 3 or 4 shots. Yeah, you've already lost the engagement. You didn't see them before they saw you.
Very disciplined player to be like, I need to leave now. I can't fight this fight.
Yeah, you don't know. Like, if you don't back out and you engage in that, you're already engaging at, let's say, half health instead of like what would have been like barely any health. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that doesn't change your situation. The situation is still happening. Let me get this one if it's okay.
Yeah. Don't do it.
This is my.
This one hurt my heart.
This one's my baby. So Falling Guillotine. Damage reduced by heavy attack by 24% to bring it in line with other swords. Note, Falling Guillotine will continue to be slightly above average, just not to the extent of that it is now. Guillotine had a lot of bugs when it came out. It did double and triple damage when you heavy slashed. So like you would kill something, and then like a second later, the damage would triple and like come back around like out of nowhere, and it wasn't supposed to do that. So they fixed that. Everybody's like, okay, Guillotine's not that busted. Guillotine still busted because the damage output per hit is nasty, but its perk combination again has a lot of perk combinations that just increase damage right away. Vorpal weapon. Actually, I think that might be Temptation's Hook I'm thinking of. Whirlwind Blade, though, I know that one's on there. And then
Whirlwind Blade. So the one that I have currently, which everyone's like, it's the God roll. It's Swordmaster's Guard, Whirlwind Blade.
we have the same one.
And yeah, we have the same exact one.
Yeah.
Because you're the one that was like, yeah, that's the God roll.
I was like, that's it. But Whirlwind Blade increases damage per light attack landed after a couple seconds. It'll go like ×1, wait a little bit, ×2, ×3, ×4, ×5. So even though we're getting a 24% base damage reduction, that just means
we have a lot of damage.
Yeah, it just means we have to ramp up Whirlwind Blade to probably to ×5 before we decide to slam on the heavy button, and then keep it going from there.
Yeah.
So
and even then, a lot of people don't know this. Swords aren't bad damage dealers. Like other swords aren't bad at all. Like you can, well, now that it's still usable, the exotic with the weird teleporting.
Worldline 0.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The heavy attack on that, still really good if you can get it going.
For sure.
But
it's
I don't think that
so
weapon's
much
dead at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but it's just so much work to start it. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
have to
for
sprint, wait, then do a heavy. Sprint, wait, then do a heavy. This is just, is your bar full? Spam heavy. Is your bar not full? Spam light. If you're so like there's never downtime for you versus like Worldline 0, which again, an
That's
exotic.
What makes this one so good.
Right, versus a legendary. They should have known taking an old Destiny exotic sword and putting a legendary on it in Destiny 2.
Until they do that, that'll always be my gripe with most of the exotics in the game, is that you can always just go farm out a better legendary than a lot of the exotics.
Which I guess cool, but it really makes me just stay
Not
focused
care about,
on the exotics that outshine legendaries versus the ones that fall in tow. Because like if I've got time and I can farm, yeah, cool. Legendary in that slot all the time. Frees up my other slots. But then I'm only looking at those exotics that outperform my legendaries, and those are the ones I bring with me. Because I'm not looking for less damage. Never.
No, not at all.
Never. And then what I expected, speaking of swords, was again comes down to what they made available. We got 2 swords this season. Guillotine, Temptation's Hook. But are they though? Are they really? Because like they behave completely different. Temptation's Hook is good. Its ammo consumption per heavy attack is trash.
Is rad. Yeah,
is
real bad.
Like that's supposed to be your long range hitter, and it's like 14 a cast or 12 a cast, while Guillotine's over here is like 6 or 5. It did like makes no sense. Like why are they that much different? And those are it. The other swords, the other heavy hitting sword was Claymore for Titans, the heavy attack. I loved that sword, and the animation was so cool.
Yeah,
but it's aging out, so like I don't have that as an option. Of course, I'm going to use Guillotine. So everybody's using Guillotine. Why? Because out of the 2 options, one of them is far superior than the other.
Exactly.
There's no reason to use Temptation's Hook, even though it can drop some nasty damage. Ammo consumption is through the roof on that sword. There's no reason to use that over Guillotine if you can put yourself in harm's way and get way more damage. Makes no sense.
Agreed. It's boneheaded decision.
Yeah, I wish Temptation's Hook got a buff this patch. That's all I'm saying. All right,
I would have been happy with
moving on. So
you could kind of tie these 2 together.
Yeah, so 2 exotics got touched on that have similar perks. Mida Multi-Tool and Mida Mini-Tool have a synergy perk. Same with Storm and Drang. So one exotic takes up 1 slot of your guns. The other is a legendary that used to feed like benefits into having both of them equipped. For Mida Mini Tool, you would move faster when both of these were called. It was called, both of these were equipped and called to, which was Mida Synergy. They've decided to take these synergy perks out of the Mini Tool and Drang and actually add in other stuff. So for Mini Tool, it's getting Hip Fire Grip and Kill Clip, and now that synergy perk is just worked into the frame, since it's all it does is complement the one exotic it's built for.
Which is the way it should have been.
It should have been, right. And then Drang Together Forever has been changed to, again, being in the frame. And then they've given it accurized rounds and moving target to kind of fit that niche of giving them perks since they're taking one away and putting it in the frame. And that one just fed bullets to your hand cannon, which just charged it up, and which is super sick. Storm and Drang is such a cool combo. But
if you can use that in quick play, by the way, easy one-shots on the Resilience Guardians.
It's disgusting. This was one I didn't expect like at all. Ruinous
This
Effigy.
This is weird.
I didn't expect this at all. It's a gun that does so much cool shit. It's a melee gun. It's a big damage gun. It's a trace rifle. It can heal you and block. Like this thing is just sick. It makes you play in such a unique style that I didn't think anybody was bitching about it like at all. I don't even think...
I never heard anyone complain.
No, nobody, right? So it's like they nerfed it a little bit. So the transmutation spheres, the little balls you pick up for melee stuff, reduce the damage of the aerial melee attack by 25%. I guess there was a bug in that, and it actually was never supposed to do that. But again, if you jump in melee, I don't think I've ever started an encounter like that. Because it's not like there's a combo in the air. It's one hit, but I guess people were abusing the shit out of it. So that's getting nuked by 25%. And then they're significantly reducing the damage of the drain effect on enemy combatants. So that healing ability, you won't be dishing out as much damage as opposed to what you're healing for, which makes sense. But again, like didn't expect it at all.
Yeah, no, completely dumb. I don't see why they did that.
I don't either. That was really weird. This one had no idea about. Cool that they were on the up and up for it. Arbalest no longer strikes shields multiple times, but its efficiency against shield targets has been increased. I guess it would hit on like the forefront, and then when it went through the target, it would hit it again. And I guess that makes sense from a programming perspective. I could see how that would happen.
I'm okay with that one.
Jade Rabbit, same thing.
This is a low key buff though.
Yeah. So they're
High Cal is great.
So Jade Rabbit's a scout rifle. Stack, do you want to take this since you like scouts?
It's just happened to be Jade Rabbit. I didn't expect this. They're going to swap armor piercing rounds to high cal just because when you hit something with armor piercing rounds, it'll actually double penetrate. Like it'll hit the first person and the next. So what would happen is with Jade, if you keep hitting body shots, your next crit does more damage. So if you hit someone, let's say in the body and then in the head in the next shot, you wouldn't be able to stack your perk like you're supposed to.
Right.
Not great for PvP, but in PvE, if you wanted to use it, it definitely fixes the gun. And in PvP, you won't waste your perk. So it's pretty cool. I thought that was dope.
I agree. And like, again, it seems like an obvious solution to just fixing the bug. Just switch the ammo type so it's not piercing through everything,
Exactly.
and then you'll be good.
And it's just Flinch City with high cal.
Yeah. And then the last one we'll wrap up because just it's more numbers essentially, and it's like it doesn't make a big a difference to the sandbox. It probably will in time, but right now it just doesn't make much sense. So Trials
I
weapons,
worry that it won't even.
Worry it won't what?
I wasn't to say. I just worry that what you're going to talk about doesn't really get used compared to what's already in the game.
Yeah, that's my fear too. But so Trials weapons originally, if you went flawless, you'd get a special version of the Trials weapon called an Adept weapon, and then built into the frame, it would have like this cool perk stuff. So they're doing that again. So they're bringing Adept weapons back. They're gonna have custom colors that only these weapons can put on, which is sick, and I'm all about it. And then they're going to take special Adept mods that are only particular to these weapons if you go flawless and farm the mods out. So you'll have to go flawless a couple times to, I'm assuming, build up a new backlog of mods specifically for these weapons. That's cool. That gives you a reason to go flawless. And
But-
yeah, but at the same time, those mods, some of them are going to have cool perks, and then some of them are going to have like negative perks. So like, here's an example.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like right now, backup mag. If you use the normal mod that goes on any gun, it's plus 30 to the magazine. If you use Adept mag after earning it, it's plus 40 to the magazine, minus 20 on handling. So might be cool in like a sniper if it gives you, instead of 2 extra bullets, now you get 3, but your handling is reduced on it. So it's like, is that 1 extra bullet really worth it for your playstyle?
Exactly.
And that's one example they gave us. And I just, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if those mods are going to be used, like Stack is worried about. I have no idea. Unless there's some cool ones out there that we don't know of, and that's the one example they wanted to throw our way. Otherwise, right now,
Which
I could
would be
say...
fine. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, if there's some they just haven't seen yet. But that example kind of sucks. I'm not exactly excited about it.
I think the one that everyone's curious about, they put it in the beginning. You can get weapon stat boosts on the guns, too. So that example they use is an Adept range is plus 10. I want to know if you can get a masterwork on the same thing that you managed to get your Adept plus on. Because that would be pretty dope. To get a double stack on range, pretty sick.
That would be, but at the same time, it's... what's the likelihood of farming that out in a week when it's available?
Oh, no. That's what I'm saying. I wonder if,
So-
like, if someone can just randomly pull, let's say, what's it called? The honor rifle.
Yeah.
With just a double stack on their range. That'd be insane.
Right. So it's cool and it's not cool at the same time. I think this will have to get more refinement because I still don't see these guns slapping.
Mm-mm.
Like, I just don't. Like, Summoner just got an unexpected nerf because it's in the Adaptive 600 rate of fire frame. Aggressive frame shotguns are good, but like, what other perk do you really need on an aggressive frame shotgun? Slide shotgun. What mod do you need on that? Nothing really. Like, it's doing the job already currently. The fusion rifle, laughable. Scout rifle, also laughable.
Laughable.
Rocket launcher, cool. I now have 2 in the mag.
And let's be fair,
But it's
there's
still a
better
rocket.
rockets.
Yeah. It's like, why am I going to farm a Trials rocket launcher? It doesn't seem worth it. And then the only thing that I can currently see being worth anything because of the change on the sniper is what we just talked about, which is I have sold the sniper because we don't know how that aim assist is going to affect this mid-range zoom, if at all. So, like, if you're currently used to this gun, you might not have to train yourself for a different zoom or a different scope. You might be able to luckily just get a cooler new version of your Eye of Soul and then move on with your life. And, like, that's it. And you could get a good mod one. You could get a trash mod one. It doesn't matter. But I will say perk combinations on Eye of Soul suck.
Yeah.
Like,
they're
they're
not good at
trash.
all.
They're not good. I don't, like, I've gotten, like, 7 of them. And they're garbage. It's always like field prep and something else. Field prep and this. Field prep. And I'm like, I'm so done with you, field prep.
I wonder. I don't even know what mine is. I think mine is a snapshot, and if so, I think that's why I kept it.
Yeah, snapshot's so good on snipers.
That's like the perk that that pretty much everyone's just like, that's what you want to get.
Yep.
Move on with your life.
So it's cool that we got an update that adept weapons are coming. I hate sounding like an old person when I say this. I kind of wish they just kept it what it was before, which was you got the adept frame, which was you move quicker, faster reload, better stability if you're the last person alive on the fire team. So clarity, put clarity into the frame, please. Take that out of the rotation, add a different mod to substitute clarity not being available, and then just go from there. But we're not getting that.
No.
And I'm like,
and like
man.
I said, like RPG said, is that these mods that they're designing for this are sweet, but if you're telling me I can get, well, I mean, first of all, I don't know anyone that picks backup mag, but am I going to use any of these mods over Icarus grip? Like,
and that's the thing too. If they have like adept grip and it's like plus 40 aerial whatever, and then it's like minus, it could be like, for all we know, they do new stats finally, like minus 20 to aim down sights. Like, we don't know. That could be something they finally decide to do, and it's like, cool, you have the craziest stability in the air, but your aimed out sights takes like a hot second to use it. That would be cool. I could see that being useful, but I don't know if they'll play with that stat or not.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
It's something we don't even know if it's on their radar, like, to look at.
So I'm
like, enough people even thought about it.
I'm optimistically trying to be excited for it, but at the same time, I'm like pessimistically just being like, well, I don't think I'm even going to farm for these.
I mean, if God willing, they manage to do something about these cheaters, like they've been showing, and they get good mods going, I think then, I would possibly look into maybe trying to go for a flawless, because I've never done it.
Really?
So I've never been flawless in Destiny 1 or 2.
I've been flawless a couple times I've been on this one.
7 wins. I got 7 wins and I think a loss.
I'll have to figure out. We'll get you there though. Like, if one of these,
for sure. Like, I'm not stressed about it.
Oh, me neither. But I get you.
If they made it to the point where they made it like a good playing experience, oh hell yeah, you know me. I'll play comp all day long.
The thing that I wanted was I wanted adept weapons back, but I wanted it to be a more rewarding experience taking that gun there. I think we talked about this, right? Like, my different take on trials. So, like, just to sum it up for listeners really quick, what I wanted for adept weapons was you play trials like normal, you use your tokens, you do your bounties, whatever. If you got a role that you really liked, like you got a good summoner or you got a good Eye of Soul, taking that gun with your character to the lighthouse, you'd put it in like a forge at the lighthouse, and then it would convert to an adept weapon. That way your farming's done prior. You finally get flawless, and it's the whole point you're going. You get it there, and you change the weapon to something you've been using now to just a better version of it. And if they wanted to give it these mod slots, and that's why you busted your ass, was to farm out the one you want, get these mods that are accessible, and still carry that weapon with you, that would make the weapons, like, use over life that much more meaningful and like that much more attached to it.
You build what I know that they've used in prior TWABs, you build that connection with your weapon.
Yeah.
It becomes that accessory that you need to go.
And so that would have been great. That would have been so rewarding.
It makes sense. It's streamlined.
Yeah.
That is what you call a streamlined plan for what they've designed here.
And you put in all that effort before wrecking your brain. Because, like, could you imagine the stress of, let's say Adept's Eye of Soul is only at flawless this week, but you have a really good Eye of Soul you're using. You get the Adept version of Eye of Soul, and it's just a trash roll. I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be raging pissed.
It is a lot. I have no real words for it other than it's disappointing.
For sure.
Because a lot of people that we talk to know I don't go into trials very often unless something's on the bounty. So I just do 3 wins or 3 games, whatever.
That's what I've been doing too. Low hanging fruit for sure.
Yeah, exactly. This doesn't make me, in the current state that we're in this game, this does not make me want to go to the lighthouse any more than I'm already like, I just want to go.
Yeah.
And that's from someone that's played a significant amount of hours of PvP.
Yeah.
But like RPG said, I'm lowly optimistic that maybe there's something that they haven't shown that I'll be like, oh, cool, let's do it.
For sure. Yeah, it's the kind of part we're just sitting around and waiting on. But
And I also think that that's the thing, is that we've just been waiting so long that we just want it to be here to know what we're getting.
yeah, and the other thing too is like, even once we do get Beyond Light, I can't say that, and this isn't a bash on anybody, like the first weekend Trials becomes available in Beyond Light, I can't say I'm realistically gonna play it. I'm gonna be grinding through other content. I'm gonna be worried about leveling my characters, maybe potentially raiding the first week it becomes available. Probably not day one raiding, unfortunately, but just at least making myself accessible to join a fire team that has like a light level requirement.
Exactly.
Like,
yes.
I could understand putting a cap on the bare minimum of what you're supposed to be at least for the first encounter. I get it. I understand and respect, appreciate those fire teams that try to make it that far. But geez, no reason to go into half the other loot right now.
I won't have the time. I can realistically say I
Yeah.
won't have the time to be able to say I'm going to do all the PvE content and grind up to where I want to be, to then go into Trials and then go and do the raid. Like, there's no way.
The other thing too is like before we were all about it, because we tried doing the garden when that came out. I think we tried doing first week or weekend. I don't remember. We got really far, got to last encounter. It's not an issue. But again, it just comes down to
getting
the time.
fire teams that are ready.
But this might be the first expansion ever in Destiny that I've played where I'm like, man, I'm probably gonna take my time.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Because the rush is the raid. I'm not a day one raider. Might be first week raider. But again, that doesn't give me any kind of benefit over the last person that tried on day one, other than an emblem.
And that's the only thing different, is that you'll have more content for you to enjoy long term,
right?
Where you're not burning through everything.
Yeah, so
I think everything since Forsaken, since we've met, we've been max light by the first week, and we just burn through all the content we get after.
Well,
and then it's like, oh.
And then we go hang out in PvP, then we go hang out with our friends and like try to help them gear up and like give them that experience, or at least shepherd them into the next, stages of what they should be doing, which has always been that other side of Destiny 2, which we'll talk about on another episode, is that community experience.
Yeah.
Like even though it's a looter shooter, there's just so much community and communication without using words in Destiny that like you don't get out of other games ever.
No.
So yeah, but I think
we've got it.
I think that's it. So that's our hype cast before Beyond Light comes out, kind of touching very basic on like all the stuff, and it's just so much content to kind of take in before we finally get to play it for ourselves. But yeah, I think next episode will probably be maybe a week or two after Beyond Light. Like I said, this is not going to be a consistent podcast every week. We're just, if we did that, I think we'd say more negative things than letting I think we'd say more negative things every week than letting content play out, seeing how it actually works, and then coming back to talk about it.
That's what happens when you live and breathe one game. You'll always find the negative.
You're like, oh, well, we did negatively hint at that. Oh, well, this thing changed. Well, that's a negative too. Okay, let's see what positive we can find here. Oh, it's not for another 3 weeks. Okay, we'll podcast again in 3 weeks. We don't want to be like, unfortunately, there are a lot of content creators that do bash on every little update.
Tiny, yep.
And there are a lot that actually don't speak as often, but they do have a good opinion once it's finally formulated and the content's actually out there and everybody has their own take on it. So it's just usually that one person's perspective, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad, just depends. But yeah, we'll end it here. So again, this is the Two Nobodies, a gaming podcast, but this episode is with a somebody, and that is Lumberjack Stack, or Stack as I like to refer to him as. And Stack, shout out your socials, shameless plug for me, bud.
Shameless plug. You guys go over to Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, LumberJackStacks. Come say hi. Tell me you came from this podcast, and then I'll be like, yo, hey, I know where you found me.
Sure. And then I am, again, one of your hosts here at RPGZieg, Z-I-E-G is how you spell that last part. And then we'll be back with another episode on Thursday this coming week. It'll be our 4th episode of the Two Nobodies, a gaming podcast. Returning will be my other host, Tyler, a.k.a. Albatross Hill, if you want to follow him on socials everywhere. And that's it, guys. You all have a good one. I'll leave you all with that, and don't forget to game on.